everyone, it's Sammy from Scrapmaster's Paradise, and today is week 7 Project Life. I have got a huge stack of photos this week because it was Valentine's week, and Olivia and I did a little mini photo shoot, so a bunch of these photos are Valentine's Day photos. I also have 2 5x7s that I want to scrapbook this week, and so here's the stack of all the Valentine's Day photos. There's a ton of them. I plan on doing a bunch of traditional layouts, and I also plan on putting a bunch of these in my Project Life spread. So that's going to be a big chore in this video, is figuring out which ones I'm going to traditionally scrapbook. So to go ahead and get started, I'm just going to arrange my photos and journaling cards and start the same process I always do with the 12x12 cardstock. So before we get too far into this week and the next week are going to be very light weeks on this channel and on my other channel because I've got family visiting this week. It's Olivia's birthday week. And the Freckled Fawn monthly release is coming up on the 1st this week. So it's a busy week for me. I'm just not going to be making a bunch of videos for you guys due to everything going on. So I just want to give you guys kind of a heads up. So this video is actually going up on Olivia's birthday. She's turning 2 today. I can't believe it. I'm doing this voiceover the night before, so I'm having one of those mommy moments like, oh my goodness, my baby's getting so big. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the layout here. I've got some random cards that I'm looking through. I just have a stack of different kit cards that I'm pulling from for this page. I totally forgot that I had all those Valentine's Day themed cards set aside, so I ended up drawing from those as well for the later layouts in this week's Project Life. So to go with this big ampersand card, I'm pulling little alphas. There's the Echo Park alphas I'm really trying to use up. I hope to get rid of these couple of packs very, very soon. Next, I work on getting everything attached down to my 12x12 cardstock. So to decorate this page, I'm digging through my supplies. There's some Freckled Fawn things like this rose, and then there's also some wood veneers that are Elle Studio. I ended up trying out a few things, but I ultimately went with one of these glitter resin hearts and then a little wood veneer and the rose. I also looked through and I found a little Elle Studio wood veneer to go with that top picture of Olivia playing with Legos. To finish off this page, I added some of these vellum phrases from the February Freckled Fawn kit, and then I called this page Done. So this week for house photos, I ended up making 4 little pictures on a 4x6. I wanted to do this because I didn't have an even number of these photos to make layouts like I did the other week where I had the photos as horizontal 3x4s. This way I could just put them in with my layouts, and you'll see this page is full of just house photos, and then the next page is going to have just 2 house photos, and then I go right into more Project Lifestyle stuff. So after I get my house photos added, I move straight into Valentine's Day stuff, and I knew I had all those photos from the photo shoot, and I wanted to put them on their own separate pages, and so I end up spreading out these photos for the bottom part of this layout, and then I move on straight to the Valentine's Day layouts. So I am pulling these journaling cards from that stack of love-themed cards that are just multiple companies. I just get these arranged and do a little bit of journaling on here. And then I work on just getting everything attached down to my cardstock. Go ahead and add some love-themed embellishments. This is a Felicity Jane transparency. I also have a little wood chip that is from Freckled Fawn, and then I also have a different wood chip that's from Freckled Fawn from a long time ago. So these envelopes I think were in the January kit. I have no idea where the little hearts came from. They might have been an extra pack. They might not have even been a kit item. They are just super duper cute. And I also had a vellum phrase on here that I wanted to add. After attaching everything down, I call this page Done, and I move into the Valentine's Day layouts. So I have a bunch of Valentine's Day photos. I know I want to make some Project Lifestyle spreads with these, and also some just plain traditional layouts. And I'm going to end up trying to organize these photos and figure out how I'm going to group them together. So it ends up taking me a lot of time to just organize them and group them. As I'm going through these photos, it's really clear that I'm going to have a Project Life themed layout with some of these horizontal 3x4s where Olivia's holding this heart decoration. I really like just the idea of clustering all of these together, so I'm kind of working with the idea of having a plain Project Life spread with the heart pictures, and then a plain one with her just in her little outfit goofing off. As I'm going through the photos, I'm trying to set them in matching pictures. Like there's some of her running, there's some of her goofing off, there's some of her going different directions. So I'm trying to put similar photos together. So for this heart themed layout, I end up having the 3 4x6 photos and then the 3 3x4 photos. And so I thought I would put a journaling card up at the top and then add some pattern paper down to the bottom. The journaling card I end up going with is a Cocoa Daisy card, and I really love, love, love this pattern paper. It's from Studio Calico, and I ended up buying a bunch of these papers. I still have a bunch of it left. Just absolutely love it. I knew I wanted to use some of it. I just add it as a bottom border, and then I attach all my photos down to the rest of the page. To finish off the page, I just add a little bit of this Freckled Fawn trim. This was a kit item from a while back, and I ended up buying multiples of it because I love it so much. And after that, I just called this page done. It was super duper simple. I wanted to leave it really simple. So for the next page, I'm going to do the little outfits. Kind of, these are the outtakes. She's making really goofy faces in a lot of them. She's running around. She's pointing to things like the water hose. She wants to play water. And so I decide to have this page with one journaling card at the very end of it. And to save a little bit of time, I went ahead and turned the camera off and just stuck these down. I used a Cocoa Daisy journaling card for this. So now I'm going to show you guys my kind of process here. I ended up getting all of my photos organized into clumps, and I'm going to go ahead and stick these into my album so that I have them organized, and then I can decide, what page I start my next layout on, if I go the full front and back, or I just do one side of the next page. So I grab my album. The next album I'm using is a Project Life album. I showed these in my February crafty chat video. I had picked up 2 of these dot albums. I think they're so pretty, so I think I'll probably end up using the dots for 2017. I did end up filling up my first album for the year, but it also included all of December. So it was close to 2.5 months, and I feel like December is a really, really busy and photo heavy month, so I feel like half of the album at least was December. But anyway, I feel like that was a pretty good amount to stick in an album because I really do have a lot of photos. I have a lot of pages every week, and so I was happy with that. I think I still need to scrapbook September, October, and November of last year. So once I get all of that done, I'll have a better idea of how many albums I'll have for 2016. And I'm hoping that I can get 3 months in each album for 2017. And then that would put me with 4 albums for this year, which I don't think is that bad considering, my little girl's a toddler. I get tons of photos of her now because she lets me take photos. And I know when kids get bigger, not every single thing they do is super exciting that you want to take a million photos of. So I feel like, as the years roll on, I won't have nearly as many albums and nearly as many photos as I am right now. I got off on a little tangent there, but going back to what I'm doing here with the pictures, I ended up having the heart decoration photos right next to some more heart decoration photos that I plan on doing as a 12 by 12. So it'll be Project Life photos and traditional layout that are very similar, and then I'm going to carry over all the rest of the outfit, Valentine's Day layouts in additional pages, and that means that I'll have scrapbooking I need to do on one side of the next 12 by 12. So I just kind of got my stuff set up in there for scrapbooking those really easy. This system has worked really well for me for sticking the photos directly into the page protectors, and then I can just scrapbook kind of in chronological order. I've been trying to go and finish up the January layouts before I moved on to the February layouts, although I ended up scrapbooking some of the February ones. But moving on to the next page here, I'm just arranging my photos, and these are all Macaron photos we have done for the last 3 years. We've gotten macarons as our Valentine's Day treat, and this year Olivia had some, and it was really cute. She's got some cute little photos of her eating the macarons. I was thinking I had some macaron themed embellishments or an embellishment from something, but I don't know what kit it's in or don't know where it is, so hopefully I can find that and come add it back to this page. Sometimes with these collect app things, I don't catch that the writing runs off, and so they just kind of like let the writing cut off, and so I had to end up writing in like one letter and a punctuation. That has happened to me now a couple of times, so I need to get better about double checking everything before I send my photos in to get printed. Now I'm just going to work on getting everything attached down, and I end up deciding I don't like the Paris card on here. I remembered I had another card I had wanted to use, and it says ooh la la, so I end up using that card instead. So I'm grabbing a die cut from the February Elle Studio kit. I'm going to just add this directly to one of the photos here. And these die cuts do have the little tabby pieces on them because they are attached to that little sheet. And so I end up using my little cutter bee scissors to cut off all those little tabby pieces. Those little tabby things really do bug me, so I make sure I trim them off. And then I go ahead and call that page done. Hopefully I can find my macaron themed embellishment that I thought I had. I should have set it aside. I don't know where it is. And then I go to work on my next page and I realize I forgot one of the 5x7 that is of Johnny and Olivia standing in front of the house. And I wanted this, with all the other house photos. And so I ended up just kind of putting this in the album, kind of in a random spot. And it's been a few days since I filmed this. I definitely decided I'm going to go back and arrange it in the album in the right position. And it means I'm going to have to be taking things off of the back of some of these 12x12 cardstocks. It's going to be removing things and arranging things until I get it exactly right, but I want it done in the right order. It's still bugging me to this day. It's been a few days, and so I'm just going to have to go in and mess with it. And so I will show that progress in my March chit chat video. I'll show you guys everything as a flip through of what I've gotten done for this month. So I'm going ahead and moving on to my next page, and I'm just going to arrange my photos and pick out some journaling cards for this page. Then I just go ahead and get everything attached. And so I had a bunch of these music themed photos of Olivia's little music class. I did one on the Collect app, and then I did the other ones as 3x4s, and I thought that was a really good way to have some journaling on there and to have some bigger photos. I feel like this week I really got my groove with what I'm doing for the weekly spreads, so I really liked the idea of having a lot of the 3x4s included in the album because I wanted to have more photos for certain things. And I also printed the 5x7s. I had the collages for the house photos. So I really feel like I'm getting a good mix of photo sizes. I really just like how this week specifically turned out with the varying photos. So now I'm just adding another one of those Elle Studio die cuts. I'm adding it with our little boots photo. Then I pulled out those Echo Park alphas again to write out a little title. So I think these glitter hearts are actually glitter acrylic. I just grabbed another one of them. They're a Freckled Fawn item. I think they were just in the store. I also ended up grabbing another one of those Elle Studio die cuts. And then I called this page done, and I noticed a theme. And starting this week, I just kept things much more simple this week. I feel like I get simpler each week and I end up with more photos each week. So it's kind of inversely proportional. So moving on to the next page, we had our gym class, and so I have a bunch of photos of Olivia swinging on the bar. This was her first time swinging on the bar all by herself. She figured out how to do it, and she just did that the entire class. I ended up arranging the photos so the bottom two rows are just the gym class photos. Next, I just work on figuring out which journaling cards I want to use. I'm still pulling them from those same love-themed journaling cards. And then I just work on getting everything attached down. To decorate this page, I grabbed a love transparency from an old Freckled Fawn kit, and also a little rose transparency shape, which was also a Freckled Fawn thing. I think that was from December. And I also had this little die cut title. I think this came from Cocoa Daisy, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. I get those 3 items attached, and then I call this page done. And then to go next to this layout, I have a 5x7 of her hanging on the bar that I intend to traditional scrap. So how I have it in the album currently is it will go on the back side of this page, so I left the space, but when I go back and rework everything to include that house 5x7 photo, those two will end up side by side. And I'm going to rearrange the Valentine's photos to make sure that those heart photos stay as a 2-page spread. And then I'll just, move around the ones with her in her little outfits to make sure that those pages end up on the right orientation. So anyway, moving on to my next page, I'm just going to do the same thing I always do. Pick out my photos, pick out my journaling cards, and then embellish. We ended up having a really fun play date with my friend and her little girls. I guess big girls, they're much older than Olivia. So I ended up having a lot of the 4x6s for that. I include some of them on this layout, and then I'm going to traditional scrapbook a bunch of them too. The girls just really hit it off, and I'm so thankful for that because they're going to be one of our neighbors when we move. We're both building houses in the same area. So I end up getting the photos arranged to make sure I have the right 4x6s set aside for the traditional layouts, and then I go ahead and pick out my journaling cards for this page to finish it off. Then I go ahead and stick everything down to the 12x12 cardstock. I grab a few of the Elle Studio die cuts to embellish a couple of these journaling cards and photos. I also pulled out one of those roses from the December Freckled Fawn kit. I really, really like them, and I used them throughout this whole week. I add a little title with the Echo Park alphas, and I end up running off the page, so I end up having to scoot everything over. After I get the title just right, I call this page done. Now I'm moving on to what will be my last Project Life themed spread in this week. I do have 1 or 2 traditional layouts that I plan on doing with some of the photos also from this part of the week. So it takes me a little while to decide which photos I'm going to traditionally scrapbook and which photos are going to go on this page. I end up deciding on 2 journaling cards that I want to use. I do a little bit of journaling on this one since a lot of these photos are 3x4s. They don't have a lot of journaling to go with them. I ended up with 2 2x2 photos because I wanted to make a 4x4 photo for a traditional layout that I'll show you guys in a second, and I ended up having these 2 spaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them to a journaling card and have just a little strip of decoration down there at the bottom of this page. And again, for time's sake, I didn't film the attaching everything down to the cardstock. I might just start turning the camera off for that part, so it saves me editing time and footage time and importing time. I think it'll save me a lot of time to not film that part. You guys get the idea. You don't need to watch me attach it all down every single time. But anyway, I added a little heart on this bottom section and added a little bit of writing on here. I had this scripty wood veneer from Freckled Fawn that's from an old set from a long time ago, and I wanted to finally use one of these up. It worked perfectly with my little girl's photo up here. I grabbed one of the label shapes from the Elle Studio February kit and attached it to the photos at the bottom. I did a little bit more journaling on there. And after attaching this label, I called this page done, and that wraps up this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you're liking these Project Life videos. I have been really loving making these for you guys. I will show you guys a flip through. I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after, but sometime in the beginning of March, once everything settles down, I'll flip through everything I got done for February, show you guys the layouts that I've made. I've been doing some traditional scrapbook pages that I haven't made process videos for, so I've got lots to catch you guys up on. So be staying tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe so you can follow me along, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.